Hello there, friends, and welcome back to Sesh Cast. My name is GLDLX. This is Sesh Cast, a cannabis podcast for cannabis sessions, and today I am very tired. And that's kind of what spawned today's topic. Let me get into the other stuff first. Welcome to Sesh Cast, a cannabis podcast for cannabis sessions. This is the show that I hang out and get high on. And I suppose if you listen to the show, you listen to me talk about stuff. And that's kind of the end of that. Each week I just pick a theme and I go for it. And I talk for a little while. And today's theme has been kind of eating away at me for a little while. Because as you can see by the title of the episode, today's theme is just tired. The word tired, this concept of tired, and the way that we as a culture have sort of decided to treat being tired. That's kind of what I want to talk about today, because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. So, that's where we're going, but before we get there, I want to talk about weed a little bit, because I got some, and it's great. Today, I am smoking on Agent Orange, one of my, top 5 favorite strains. I absolutely love Agent Orange. And traditionally, I love Agent Orange for the taste. It's I love citric fruits. I love citrus in general. Orange, mango, pineapple, kiwi. I'm into all that jazz. So, I love citric things. And I know kiwi is not really citric, but I watched a comedian. I watched Gabriel Iglesias' Netflix special this last weekend, and it was really good. The newest one. I'm sorry for what I said when I'm hungry. Yeah, that's I think what it's called. And he made this noise, blah kind of noise, and I was gonna try and do that, and then I realized I probably couldn't pull it off. So, anyway, I like Agent Orange because it tastes good, but I also do love the effects. I'm very much an indica guy. There aren't a lot of sativas that I really love, but Agent Orange is one of them. Always one of my favorites. I love the head buzz that you get. I love how talkative it makes me. It's very uplifting. It's just a good all-around strain. I like Agent Orange a lot, so I'm very happy to have some. And while it doesn't taste as great as other Agent Orange cuts I've had, the effects are bomb. Absolute bomb.com. Love them a lot. So that is what I'm smoking on, and I am smoking out of my bubbler. This is my favorite little bubbler. It's my only little bubbler. I have no idea the artist or anything. This was a Christmas present from one of the shadier head shops in town. Not shady as in I don't know if you should go there, you might get messed up, but shady as in they're kind of a sketchy business and they will try really hard to make you pay more money than you need to pay, and yeah. But it was given to me as a Christmas present, and I love it. It's this really cool, I don't know 100% what these are called. It's like a Sherlock bubbler and kind of like a Hammer bubbler. I honestly don't know. So if anybody knows a lot about bubbler classifications, please inform me in the comments on my Instagram. But it's just a little 2-slit perk. And it rips, man. It's great. I love it. It hits hard, and it's really cool, though. It's got a great cool, because it's got a really huge bubble on it. There's got to be a name. Sidecar? Maybe this is a sidecar piece. I think this might be a sidecar piece. I should have known this before I sat down to record this episode. My apologies. But the picture is on my Instagram. Go judge it for yourself. That's at Sesh Cast. All one word. I post pretty much everything on Instagram. That's my biggest social media. So I put pictures of all of the glass that I smoke on my Instagram. Feel free to check it out there. I also live stream before I record each episode. I think I skipped live streaming before last week's episode, but I live streamed before this one. It was nice to get back on live. And just hang out and talk and get used to talking out loud in a room alone by myself. So that was what I was up to, and showcased this bubbler off a little bit. I always try to give a little bit of a glass sneak peek in the live stream if I can. So at Sesh Cast is where you can find that. This picture will be up in congruence with the release of the episode, so feel free to check that out. Yeah, I suppose I should smoke some of it now, so I think that I am going to. I hope you're having an awesome day. If you're listening to this on Thursday, I hope your Thursday is great. Congrats, you're almost to the weekend. If you're listening to this on not Thursday, that's cool. I hope whatever day it is good. I'm going to smoke some of this weed now. Cheers. Oh boy. Oh gosh. Oh lord. Wow. It'll be interesting to see how much of that bubble comes through over the music. I know bongs tend to come through pretty well, and I know I could turn the music down. I do edit my own podcast, but I just like it at a certain volume. So I'm interested to see how that comes through. But today, this Agent Orange is crazy. I keep forgetting that I'm doing a podcast and that I need to keep talking. I take a hit and then just kind of go silent. My brain is running like crazy, but my mouth just doesn't want to. Today's episode is about tired. Not necessarily being tired, just this concept, this idea of tired. Because I think we as a society, at least here in Merca, I don't know what it's like around the rest of the world. I hope it's better. I hope everything in the rest of the world is better than it is here in Merca, because things here in Merca aren't so great right now. But I think that we as an American culture have turned being tired into a competition, and that's freaking weird and not healthy. And I think that we should talk about that. Everybody should just come together in a room and sit down and be like, yo, listen, we're all tired here. We don't need to keep pushing ourselves to be the most tired in the room. Let's all go take a nap and just call it a day for a little while. Because it's kind of out of control, right? Every person I talk to, it always comes out. I'm guilty of it too. I always talk about how tired I am. And then that person is like, oh, well, I am also tired because of all of these things. And it's turned into this point where being tired is sort of a status symbol. If you're not tired, you're not working hard. And that's not really that healthy. Can we talk about this for a second? I had this realization this weekend because I'm tired. Let me tell you about it. I've had a really crazy couple work weeks, straight up. That's I think why the podcast has fallen kind of the wayside. My Instagram hasn't been as active. I just haven't been as involved lately because my work weeks have just been nuts. I've been working a ton of hours. I've been filling in a lot of shifts. Yada yada yada. Long story short, I'm tired, right? And I was having this conversation with somebody at work, and I was talking about how tired I was and how much I'd been working, and they immediately launched into how tired they were and how much they'd been working. And it wasn't this it wasn't a conversation of sympathy to one another. It was much more a conversation of yes, well, I am also tired. I too am tired. I have put in enough work to be tired. And it wasn't a sincere dude, that sucks. I hope you get some rest soon. But it was hidden under the guise of that, if that makes sense. That was the conversation. The conversation was dude, I'm so sorry. You're so very tired. I hope that you get a chance to rest soon. But underneath of that was a very clear air of competition. And I started to notice that after this one conversation I had. I started to notice that everywhere. And it's such a subconscious thing, I think. I think that we as a culture have turned this idea into something that's so ingrained into us that if you're not exhausted, you're not working hard enough. And you have to be exhausted to earn the right to be tired, and to not be at the top of your game or whatever. And I feel we have ingrained that into our own mindsets and ingrained it so deep within our culture that we're now really hardcore over pushing each other, but not so much each other and even more ourselves, just to be able to earn the right to say that I'm tired. And that's kind of weird and something that I don't think is really healthy. And like I said, I'm super guilty of this too. started this episode off by saying that I'm tired. I constantly talk about how tired I am because I feel like I'm tired all the time. Um, but let's please acknowledge that you don't have to be exhausted to be tired, that you don't have to be tired to be working hard. Like, just because you put in a really hard day's work doesn't mean you need to be tired at the other end of it. Or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that, because that didn't make a lot of sense. um, just because you're not tired at the end of a workday doesn't mean that you didn't put in a good day's work. I feel like and maybe it's a millennial thing, maybe this is a my friends circle thing, like maybe this isn't real. Maybe I am hardcore projecting my own life onto the rest of the universe, but I feel like I see this a lot. I really do, so I hope that somebody levels with me on this. But like, um, I, I lost my train of thought. Dang it. I was going somewhere really good. Like, um, so, like being tired, oh, come on, come back. So, okay, I think I know where I'm at. Like, you don't have to be exhausted at the end of a day's work. Yes, okay, I'm back. So you don't have to be exhausted at the end of a day's work to know that you put in a good day's work. Good day's work. And I feel like what I am noticing a lot among, I feel like everybody, but maybe it's just millennials, maybe it's just my friends, maybe it's just freaking me. I don't know, but I feel like I'm seeing a lot of people forcing themselves to work, like to overwork themselves just because they have the energy to, and that concerns me. I see my friends like pushing themselves to work 50, 60 hour weeks, not necessarily because they need to, but because, well, I have the time and I have the energy. I guess I should be spending it working. And I'm not saying working isn't like a job and career that you go to. I'm saying like anything that isn't taking time to yourself and relaxing. I feel like I'm seeing that a lot, and it wigs me out a little bit. I don't love it. Like, it bums me out that that's sort of where the culture of our society has gone. I don't know. I don't know. I want more to talk about. I'm gonna take another hit of this, and we'll see where we come out, because I think it'll be on the other side. So, cheers, friends. So, like, I think another thing is that it not only has being tired turned into like a competition, it's turned into a comparison game, a pissing contest, if you will, um, to see who can be the most tired. And it's turned us into a people who aren't empathetic to the struggles of others. I think I just made a wild accusation. Like, I think that was kind of a large, heavy thing for me to say. So let me elaborate on that a little bit. Like, I feel like often we hear people say that they are tired, and we think almost immediately, yeah, well, I am more tired, so they must not be tired. And I think that is a wrong assumption, and something that we shouldn't do anymore. I also think that that's something I'm incredibly guilty of, and that I should not do anymore. But I'm rationalizing through this on a microphone, so stick with me here. Um, I feel like we have gotten to this point where we don't have empathy for the struggles of others, in the sense that we think just because someone says they're tired, they must not be tired, because they simply could not be as tired as we are, or as I am. Like, you hear somebody somebody tells you about how they're struggling and you think, I am so exhausted, and I've listened to why this person says they're tired, and they haven't done nearly as much as I have, so they must not be tired. And you write them off, or we write them off, or I write them off. I don't know the proper pronouns here, but like it happens. And I think it happens very quickly and very subconsciously. And I think it's something that we should all be actively trying to sort of eliminate from our judgment of our interactions with others. Because just because someone is not as tired as you are does not mean that they are tired. And it's sort of this idea of like, just because someone is struggling worse than you doesn't mean that you aren't also struggling. And this is totally a two-way street, and I think I'm going to get to that here in a minute, but like, if someone is not as tired as you, that does not mean that they are not the most tired they've been in their life, or the most tired they've been in 3 weeks, or 10 weeks, or 2 years, or any extended period of time. And it may be a big deal for that person to be as tired as they are. Even if you were, like, you may be envious of them being only that tired, and you wish that you were only that tired because you are more tired than that. But, that person who is only so tired, just because they're not as tired as you, doesn't make their experience any less miserable. It doesn't make them any less tired. It doesn't make them feel better. Like that mindset doesn't help anybody. You reacting to someone telling you, hey, yeah, like, how are you? I'm super tired. I'm going through a lot right now. And you think, like, well, they're not as tired as me. That mindset doesn't help anybody. Like, that bolstering your chest, saying, I am more tired than you are, that literally just means that you're tired and you need to rest too. Like, that is not a healthy thing. And then you telling that to somebody doesn't encourage them to rest, doesn't encourage them to take a break. It just tells somebody, like, yeah, well, I guess maybe I'm not that tired. Like, maybe I should put in more effort. Maybe I should do more. And that's a problem. That's a real thing that I think is a problem and is an issue that's happening, and it bugs me. But that is totally a two-way street. Like I said, I want to address that too, where, like, you should always be empathetic, not only of the struggles less than yours, but of the struggles greater than yours. And that's kind of the easy one. You think, like, man, I stubbed my toe today and it hurt really, really bad. And that made it a really awful morning. And, like, hey, somebody has cancer and found out this morning. Like, yes, those are two very different things. Both of those things suck, right? There is a scale of suctitude. Some things suck worse than other things, but that doesn't mean your things suck less. Like, just because someone else got a cancer diagnosis this morning, and I know this is heavy, I apologize. Just because somebody else got a cancer diagnosis this morning doesn't make your toe hurt less, right? But 10 million times like, you stubbing your toe this morning may have given you an awful morning. That person who got a cancer diagnosis this morning also had an awful morning, and you need to acknowledge that they had an awful morning. We just don't need to turn it into a competition. Being in a negative space does not need to be a competition. You don't need to be in a negativer space than those around you. And that's, like, the weird thing that I see happen all the time, where everybody just has to be worse off. It's like a status symbol to suck. And that's not healthy. Can we stop? I think we should stop. Like I've said a million times, I do this too, as a problem that I have, that I would like to get better at and am actively trying to better myself at. That just because you are tired doesn't mean that somebody else is not also tired. I don't need to know I don't need to care how tired they are. Their level of tired doesn't really affect me. All that matters is that they are tired. They are a negative. And me saying that I am a more negative than they are a negative does not help them become a positive, does not also help me become a positive. There is no being negativer does not make you positive. A negative plus a negative is a negative. That's math. Sorry, math is a thing that I like. I haven't really talked about it much on the show, but I explain things in math terms. So that if that hurt a little bit because you didn't like math, I'm sorry. But a negative plus a negative is always a negative, 110% of the time. Period. Always. Negative plus a negative is a negative. Um, so there. Period. Like you just ah. I hate that we've turned it into a competition. I hate that I have turned it into a competition, and I want to get better about that. And I'm gonna take a hit of this, um, and then I like don't really know where I'm gonna go. I guess I could I feel like this could be a short episode because I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I don't want it to be a short episode. You know, I've got I'm halfway right now. I'm right at the halfway point, and I don't want to end it here. I want to keep talking about this, but I'm not sure what to say other than the same thing. So I'm gonna take a big old rip of this. I might take a couple big old rips of this, and I might go in a completely different direction, and we're gonna see because I really don't know. But I hope that you can take a big rip too, and I hope that you can become conscious of this and make this distinction of, am I judging this person unfairly? Am I adding negative to their negative? Am I adding negative to my negative? How am I approaching this situation? So take a couple big rips with me and let's see where things go from here. Cheers. Oh boy. Okay. This bubbler is massive. You can fit an awful lot in here because the bowl is very wide. Like the top of this thing just all tapers into the middle. So you can just pack a boatload of weed on here and then build an actual small mountain on top of your pile itself, which is cool. So I think I found a different direction that I wanted to take this in, and I'm gonna I need to take a drink real quick. So excuse me for a minute as I put a little bit more music in while I take this drink. Okay, so a different direction. I almost feel like I should have done this episode in the opposite direction. I should have talked about what I am about to talk about first and what I just talked about second. But whatever. So, I think that there are a lot of things making all of us tired that we're not necessarily giving, or we're not necessarily acknowledging as something that is making us tired. I don't know that that made sense, but let me explain what I mean. So, okay, we just had this conversation about how it's okay to be tired, and it's okay to be however tired you are. That is true. Let's talk about some things that make us tired. Work, obviously. Work around the house, work that you're employed at, work that you do as side projects, whatever. Those are all things that make us tired. Right? Those are the obvious ones. Now I think that there are a lot of other things that exhaust us and make us tired in different ways. And this kind of ties into the whole adulting episode that I did, which I want to say was episode 16. But I'm not 100% sure about that annotation. But this kind of ties into the whole adulting thing, where like there are a lot of things that make us as a people tired from day to day, and that does not necessarily, and a lot of those things don't necessarily get credit, I think. Um, for instance, remembering to uh, eat all day slash not eating all day. Both of those things are very exhausting. Whether you remember to eat 3 square meals a day every day, as you should, give or take a meal or two, depending on what dietitian you talk to or fitness guru you're into. Um, like 3 square meals a day, whether it's remembering and keeping that schedule and cooking or buying or preparing or what have you, 3 meals a day, that is exhausting. As is only eating once a day, forgetting to eat for a couple of days, because not eating is also very exhausting, makes you very tired. So there are two kinds of tired that people can be, where that could become a competition. Somebody saying like, "Oh, I'm so tired. Like I spent my entire day meal prepping. All I did was cook today, and it really wore me out." And then somebody else, "Well, I was too busy to eat today, so I haven't even eaten or smelled food in 24 hours." Like it turns into that weird competition. Let's just acknowledge that both of those people are tired, because both of those things are exhausting. So that food, something that makes us tired. Social interaction, absolutely exhausting. Whether you're an introvert, whether you're an extrovert, whether you're a happy person, whether you're a depressed person, whether you like meeting new people, whether you don't, doesn't matter. Social interaction can be very, very exhausting. Like, I am very much an ambivert. I love being out and around people, but I also need my me time. Like, I'm very much right in the middle. It's all the Myers-Briggs tests and stuff that I've taken put me like right in the middle. Um, so I love meeting new people. Like my other job is as a radio DJ. I meet people out at events and promos all of the time. So with that being said, like I love meeting all those new people, but man, at the end of that day, like I need to not talk for a little while. I need to just be me for a little while. Like I need to go to sleep. It's exhausting. Um, but at the same time, like if you're on your own all day, you're trying to keep yourself entertained, you're homesick or whatever, like can also be very exhausting. Reminding yourself that social interaction is important, forcing yourself into social interaction, all of those things really wear you down. It's like an 8 hour sleep at night will repair so much for you, but there are so many things that tick away at those 8 hours, or like whatever amount of sleep you got last night, whatever energy you have going into a day. Like there's a lot of stuff in the world that just ticks away at all that. Um, so so you got eating, you got social interaction, hygiene, super exhausting. Remembering to shower regularly or showering regularly. Every time I shower, I want to take a nap. That's just a thing. I used to shower to wake up. Now, often I shower when I'm high. And if you've never showered while you're high, you are missing out because it is the best thing in the world. I love smoking in the shower too. That's a really cool thing that I enjoy doing that may not be the safest, but like being high in the shower, so cool. Everything just feels, and it feels great. Whether it's temperature, whether it's like pattern of the water. If you got a good shower head, being high in the shower with a good shower head is just a very terrific experience. Big fan. So often now I get high, then I shower, and then I want to go to bed because I'm high and showered. So, whatever. Hygiene, remembering to shower, showering. Sorry, I just went out on a rant about taking a shower. All of those things are exhausting. Remembering to brush your teeth, remembering to do the laundry, doing the laundry. There are all of these things that wear down on people. And I think that individually, now let's talk about just the way we treat ourselves. We don't always acknowledge all of the things that wear us down in a day. And so we can look at a day, and I'm saying this because this is something that I do, and I know that it's something that a lot of my friends do. So I'm assuming that it's something a lot of people do, but I know that I do it. That like you have a day and you can do a lot, and you look at your day, you look backwards and you say, "Man, I didn't really do anything that should knock me out as hard as it did. Like I didn't work hard today. I could have done more today." Even if your schedule was completely slammed and you were working on thing every minute of the day, but none of those things really wore you out, sometimes you turn around and you look back at your day like you didn't do anything, and that sucks, But if you take into consideration all of these things that really will wear you down, really will take time and will take energy, you start to realize that you did a lot more in a day than you give yourself credit for, and that is something that is very mentally healthy, and probably physically healthy too, because sleep is just incredibly physically healthy, and being on not a lot of sleep not physically healthy. But something that's very mentally healthy is to not beat yourself up for not being tired, or to beat yourself up for not being as tired as somebody else, whatever. Like, that is not a great thing to do. So, if we can acknowledge all of these little things that really do take energy and really do wear you down, I think that we would feel better about not only ourselves, but our general existence. I think I would feel better about not only myself, but my general existence. And that is something that I'm really working hard on. I started using to-do lists. I'm going to hit this again, and then I'll talk a little bit more about that. So, yeah, I'm going to hit this. Cheers. So, gosh, things that I've done to fight the tired, and to fight this mindset of like I'm not doing enough. Sort of three things. Let's say three things. Thing one, started making to-do lists, which I've never really done before. In fact, making to-do lists has always like really stressed me out. But I've started doing it just so that I can see all of the things that I take off of my list as I go, and can acknowledge like my list is this tangibly shorter. Um, and I think like I didn't do that to make myself feel better. I did that just so that I could really accurately judge how much I was accomplishing in a day. Because often I would get to the end of a day and think, wow, I really do anything. I really got nothing done today. And people around me would be like, didn't you do like a bunch of stuff today? You had a pretty productive day. And I'm always like, yeah, well, I could have done more. And so I started making to-do lists so that I can actually look and see like, wow, I got a lot of stuff done today. And I put a lot of things on there. Like, if I've got an important, excuse me, my tongue exploded. If like, if I have an important lunch date, I put it on there. If I need to remember to eat dinner, I put it on there. Whatever. Like, so having all those things on my to-do list and being able to cross them all off has been really good. I've really been enjoying that, and that's something that I never thought I would, but has been very, very helpful. So I haven't gotten super into like writing tons of stuff out, planning it in advance. It's typically like I wake up in the morning, and it's kind of like I have a meeting with myself every morning. I'm like, all right, here's all the crap I have to do today. Let me put it on the list so I can watch it go away. That's kind of how I look at to-do lists. So I'm working on that. Thing number two, I try my absolute hardest to get 8 hours of sleep a night. It's not possible a lot of the time. It really isn't. Like, it just isn't. But I try really hard to get 8 hours of sleep when I can get 8 hours of sleep, because it really is great and super helpful. And, like, I know that there are all sorts of studies out there that are like, people should only get 6 hours. People should get 10 hours. People should get 7. The sleepless elite exist, and it's only like 4% of the population, but everybody thinks they are one. Like, all this stuff. I find 8 hours to be a very good middle ground to all of those things. You know, it's kind of the average of like all of the claims. It's also just really good because if you give yourself 8 hours to sleep and you toss and turn all night, like you got 2 hours of cushion before you hit that 6 hour mark, which is where like I think you start to get into the no one thinks that that much is healthy amount of sleep. Like I think the lowest actual article I've ever seen has been people only need 6 hours of sleep. I think. Um, so I think that anything under 6 is when you start to get into that like scientists aren't sure that that's great situation. So I feel like 8 hours, you give yourself 8 hours to sleep, you've got 2 hours of cushion before you get into the danger zone. And I also find that it tends not to be too much. I don't sleep too much of my day away when I try and get 8 hours of sleep. I don't wake up in sort of the grog fog because I got more than 8 hours of sleep. Like 8 hours is just a good zone. So I try really hard to get 8 hours of sleep every night that I can. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But when it does, I do tend to feel better, and it helps me just like not be as tired in general. It honestly, I feel better when I get 8 hours of sleep than when I get like 11 hours of sleep. Those big sleep in days are nice every once in a while when you've really pushed it too hard. Then they are the absolute bomb.com, and I live for those days. But getting the like 10, 11 hour nights every night, it'll slow you down. It really will. And you'll end up sleeping your whole day away and not accomplishing much because that's what I did for like 6 years. Um, and then the third thing that I do that's really helped is something that I think I've said before that I want to do a podcast on, and something that is still on my list of podcasts to do is just drinking water. I drink a lot of water, and it keeps me going all the time. It is the absolute lifeblood of my existence. Drink more water. I honestly don't know if you can ever drink totally like enough water. I know people have died. I get it, but like normal being regular, you I don't think can really drink too much water. But I drink a lot of water. It's super helpful. I try and drink like a gallon a day, and you just feel better. Like you feel more awake, you feel happier, you feel like you have to pee literally all of the time, but you get used to it. Um, it's just really helpful, and I like it a lot. Um, so that has been something that has helped me stay less tired and accomplish more. So it has helped, it has added a positive to my negative, where like, okay, I am less tired, but still I struggle with that, putting my negative on other people's negative. Like I still struggle with, yeah, like, I guess water doesn't help with that. I don't know if any of those things help with that. I don't really know why my brain tried to connect those two sentences there. I'm not 100% sure it meant to. If I could go back in time and listen to the replay so I can know how I got there, maybe I would agree, or I would confirm or deny. But honestly, I don't 100%. My brain just connected those two thoughts, and I'm not sure it's what I meant. So if that really didn't make a lot of sense, you can disregard that last part. If that clicked for you, cool, I think. I don't 100% remember what I said. That's the weed. But there's that. That's how this show happens. Let me take another hit, please. Thanks. Cheers. And with that, I guess it's about. Dang. Well, okay. So, like, I think it's about time for me to go here. But there's some takeaways from that episode, except that last part. My wrap-up statement for that wasn't great. Wrap-up statement, it's okay to be tired. Don't be a jerk. Take better care of yourself. Help other people. There you go. 4 bullet points for this episode. But that's about it. Let me give you some wrap-up stuff. My name is GLDLX. You can find me on the internet. I do a podcast called Sesh Cast, which is this. Thank you for listening. You can find this in all of the podcasty places. So if you are listening on a podcast app or situation that is not comfortable for you, feel free to find another. I'm probably there. If I'm not there, shoot me an email and yell at me for it, and I will happily put myself there. You can find my email at my pseudo website that my hosting site made me for free, seshcast.libsyn.com. But the easiest way to find me is via the Instagram. That is at Seshcast. Find me there. I post pictures of my glass and try to put things on my story, but I've been super busy, so I haven't been doing it much because I've been tired. But I'm there. Feel free to say hello, shoot me a DM. Links to my website in the bio of my Instagram as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. I was definitely going to say something else. I definitely don't remember what it was. Oh, yeah, the music for this episode. I really need to buy some new sample packs for my little loop machine to make better music for the episodes. I'm kind of bored of the sample packs I have. I just haven't done it yet, so sorry. If you're getting bored of this music, I apologize. I'm hoping to get new stuff soon. So, with that, I'm going to hit this one more time, and then I think I'm going to go. So, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for listening. Tell all your friends that you think might be into this that there's a thing that they might be into and that they should check it out. Cheers. My name is GLDLX. This has been Sesh Cast. Thank you so much for listening.